When it comes to LASIK, you don't have to save up for years or put off going on vacation just to pay for it. At the LASIK Vision Institute, we make LASIK more affordable by partnering with most vision insurance plans, Cigna, VSP, iMed, and more. They provide exclusive discounts to their members that you can use here at the LASIK Vision Institute. So visit mylvioffer.com and save hundreds on LASIK when you use your vision insurance. The LASIK Vision Institute. Amazing vision, amazing price.
Yeah.
Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
You think I'm some dummy off the street? My era's everything. I cover
your
all
era.
eras. My nickname, Mr. Era.
Jeff Lutz.
I've been around for 34 years. Longer than most people.
34 years to me is, that happened yesterday, not in your lifetime.
There's no alternate history where that could have been achieved.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a Friday. It's a Friday edition of the Bob and Jeff Show here on KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting the show. Max Power in our East Wichita studio, producing and engineering. The IHOP hotline, 869-1240. Where do we start? I guess Shockers last night took it to Western Kentucky.
I don't know if they took it to them.
They took it to them. Physical game. Western Kentucky didn't make a three-pointer in the entire basketball game. And Wichita State wins by 10.
Yeah, they won by double digits. That was a pretty close game, though, throughout. So if you're talking
took it to them.
If you're talking about a physical standpoint, yes, the Shockers
that's what I mean. They took it to them.
From an outcome standpoint.
They out-physicaled Western Kentucky.
And that's good for Wichita State because that gives them an immediate identity. Now, will that carry over when they start to play bigger teams with better athletes? I don't know, but early on, you see them using their size to their advantage. They're rebounding well. They are, quote-unquote, out-toughing teams, I would say. So that's good. That's good. I don't know if that's the identity Paul Mills wants to have long-term, but it's good for what the roster is right now.
I didn't hear anything. That was the most rambling.
What are you talking about?
I suppose you made some good points. I was trying to see if you're looking at me when you talk. You got your hat pulled down kind of over your eyes.
Darren Dreifert thing going on.
Can't really tell if you engage me, if you're looking at me.
Not really.
Why is that? Why don't you look at me when you talk?
Not a good eye contact guy usually. I try.
Well, I'm just going to contact eyes throughout this entire
do what you got to do.
2 hours.
Where'd you get that little fleece sweatshirt?
Oh, I've had it for a while.
It's nice.
So new lighting here in the basement studio. New lighting out in the family room. New lighting in the entryway. Thoughts?
Well, as long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Well, it needed modernization, man.
It looks good down here.
You got these old, this old-fashioned stuff. We're trying to get this house a little bit more contemporary.
I'm happy for you.
Don't you like it? This is a pretty nice touch down here.
It's lovely.
You'd never say anything.
What do you mean? I just did.
We've completely revamped this room in the course of 2 to 3 weeks. So there you go.
Yeah,
shows
it looks
what
good.
Can be done.
I enjoy it.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you enjoy it.
Well, I mean, that's what we set out to do. Not we, my wife and I. We wanted to make this room.
She had a say in it, and
Sure she did.
Okay.
She has a say in everything.
I know she had a say in it, but I'm saying that she was really on board. She wanted a change to this room.
Well, yeah.
Okay. That doesn't seem like something Debbie would take time to even worry about. Like, hey, we got to do.
I'm the one that instigated it, but she was completely on board.
Well, of course.
She didn't come to me and say, this isn't how our relationship operates. We don't go to one another and say, hey, this needs to happen.
Oh.
I don't know if that's what your relationship is. If it is, you need to revamp that a little bit.
Well, it's usually me being told how it's going to be in a lot of senses.
Good. You need to be told.
That's why I live out in the country. That's why we have a camper. I don't know, just whatever.
Well, you do what you can to make your wife happy.
Always.
I hope I do the same.
Let's hope so.
You have doubts?
I don't know. Not really.
Well, her happiness is much more important than my own happiness. So if she comes home tonight and she comes down here and checks out these lights, I would expect her to be ecstatic about this.
Well, good.
We got a little dimmer for out in the family room. We'll be spending some significant time down here this winter. Lighting has been an issue in that room for a while. Now we got it figured out.
Gonna give up the upstairs situation.
Well, we'll still do upstairs.
All right.
We split it up. Misty, our dog, seems to do a little bit better down here. She's not as disruptive. She has bigger spaces in which to.
Oh yeah, and there's not as much to look at outside and think about. So yeah, she's good.
All right, Shockers last night with a win. When do they lace them up again?
I don't know if I have an answer to that question right now. They play Sunday against Friends.
Sunday against Friends.
Yes.
And that'll be a fun experience for the Falcons to go to Coke Arena and see how they match up. See how they
their coach on this week.
That's fine. I mean, whatever. That's
Phil
not
McClintock.
like
It was a good conversation.
That's not anything that I needed to really talk about. I mean, I'm glad we had Coach McClintock on, but it's not like he was hard to get.
Doesn't matter if somebody's hard to get. Why would we be?
You're acting like we had, Rick Carlisle on or something.
Well, that'd be awesome. Can we get Rick Carlisle on? Big win for the Pacers last night.
Boy, they about choked that game. Embarrassing.
What do you mean embarrassing?
Well, they were up 28-7 early.
No, they were only up 18.
No, they were up more than that.
20,
I
no,
watched
it was
the beginning on NBA TV.
No, they were up 18. That was their biggest lead.
Well, whatever it was, they about let it get away.
Right, and then Milwaukee was up 10 in the fourth, and they choked. But we also took it from them, and that was a fun game to watch.
Couldn't care less.
Oh, my God. I had so much fun.
Really?
Yes, I was so into that game. And I'm as surprised as you are. When I'm saying, hey, I'll pick the Pacers and, make a Twitter account and follow this team and see what's being said.
You made a Twitter account?
I told you this, yeah.
You have a Twitter account.
Dedicated to only the Pacers. I don't tweet on it, but I just follow accounts. I just follow Pacers accounts and see what people are saying. And I'm into this team. I know that you probably don't want to believe
it. Fool alert.
Why?
I don't know. It just feels like it's not real. It absolutely feels.
Well, I mean,
like it's not real.
You come sit with me and watch that game, or watch any game.
I don't think I could watch a full NBA regular season game.
Well, it was fun.
I couldn't even watch the full Shocker game last night. I came down here and worked on League 42 rosters. I don't know. There's something strange with me as I get older in that regard. I have a real issue watching a sporting event in its totality.
But you'll watch the Cardinals start to finish.
I will, for the most part, although I record a lot of games, and I don't watch the ones they lose. And I go through the ones they win in the innings they score.
Okay.
So it's gotten a little bit strange for me.
Well, then you should feel like they're the best team in the world because you're only seeing their runs.
Well, I mean, when I'm home and I get to watch them, I certainly sit down and watch a game from start to finish. But that doesn't happen until
June or
sometime in July. So I record the games in the early season, and I'll watch some Shocker basketball, certainly, from start to finish, like I will with K-State and KU, but not against opponents that don't interest me. Not very often. What is that?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know what it is.
I'm in a transformative spot in my sports fandom, so I can't necessarily tell you what you're going through.
So you didn't watch the Shockers last night either?
I followed it on my phone. I had it in front of me.
You watched the Pacers?
Yes.
What if the Pacers are playing Brooklyn when the Shockers are playing Florida Atlantic? What will you watch?
Do you really want me to answer that
I
question?
Do. Yes.
I'll watch the Pacers.
You've got to be kidding.
I'm sorry.
You have to be kidding.
I'm sorry.
That. What about when Kansas is playing Baylor?
I
You're kidding.
I don't know what you want me to say.
You can't be. You have to be joking.
I started thinking about today. What happens when a Guardians game coincides with a Pacers game? Like I don't know. I mean, I'll obviously watch the Guardians.
What is it about your personality that leads you to this point?
I've never done this before, so I don't know how to answer
but
these
you've done
questions.
it in other areas. You jump on board completely and wholeheartedly, and then a few weeks later, it starts to dissipate, and then it's gone.
I don't know. I can't. I do not have answers to these questions.
And that's my prediction with what will ultimately happen with the Pacers.
I would be stunned.
They're 6-3, so you getting some early season enjoyment out of a team, and we'll see if they can break through and be a top 4 seed in the East.
Well, I'm looking at top 6.
That wouldn't do it for me.
It would for me. Just avoid the play-in round.
That wouldn't jumpstart me at all.
All right.
Here's what we have on the show today, and it's packed. Jon Kirby, our KU football insider from Jayhawk Slant, will join us at 2:25. Kansas with a game this week against Texas Tech, and then next Saturday it's KU K-State in Lawrence. Nick Schmidt, the head football coach at Medicine Lodge High School down in the Gyp Hills, will join us.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll join us at 2:45. Joanna Chadwick from Vipe Magazine at 3:25. And Shay West from Tribal Roots. I'm unaware of that. What is that?
I was learning about it today. I was kind of trying to learn about it. I will get a lot of information from Shay. They're putting on.
Give me some information right now.
I don't have a whole lot.
You said you were trying to learn about it. What did you learn?
That they're having an event tomorrow.
What is it?
It's a comedy event, but it's like alternative comedy, and I don't know. I just want to.
What's alternative comedy?
It's not like it's alternative. It's like it's.
Well, but if it's funny, it's funny. What's an not funny comedy? Is that?
I don't know. Like Mitch Hedberg is kind of alternative comedy.
Well, he's funny,
right?
So what's alternative about that?
It's kind of a different style. It's kind of one-liner stuff. I don't know.
Well, why'd you? No offense against Shay West.
It's not.
I'm sure he will be right. It's a he.
Yes.
I'm sure he will be fantastic. But I don't know.
I just learned that today that Tribal Roots is a thing in Wichita. So it seems like it's fairly. I mean,
how'd you learn it?
I was looking up events this weekend. That's usually a lot of times how I do 5 questions is see who's having an event, and if it's a lesser known, at least to me, kind of entity, then I'll try to figure it out.
Well, I'm all for learning, but I wish you'd had a little learning.
7,300 likes, 8,200 followers on Facebook, which is pretty good. They posted, Shay did, that they're going to be on today, or he's going to be on, and he got a bunch of likes and comments, so it's good stuff. 9 shares for that.
Right, great. And you still don't know what it is.
All of them with all the comments.
Give me an alternative comedy line.
I don't know about an alternative
Give me some alternative
I'm just going to find a definition for alternative comedy. Alternative comedy. For a style of comedy that makes a conscious break with the mainstream comedic style of an era.
All right.
Literally
Here's my
any
alternative comedy. Why'd the chicken cross the road?
That's stupid.
Why? Hang with me. Why'd the chicken cross the road?
Why? You got nothing?
Because the walk sign lit up.
Oh God.
See, that's alternative.
That was one of the saddest moments in the history of this show.
That was bad, but what if it's an alternative line to get to the other side? So maybe that's alternative comedy.
Paul F. Tompkins, you should check him out. He's hilarious. They've got him listed as a alternative comedian, kind of just below the mainstream. I would say my guy Todd Glass is an alternative comedian. Certainly, Dimitri Martin is.
Well, we'll see what Shea West has to say.
And maybe they are straightforward comedians.
And where are they performing?
Dear Lord.
Well, I mean, you're the one who set this up. Isn't Tribal Roots in Wichita this weekend?
They're an organization. They're a group.
Is Shea performing this weekend?
No, he's part of Tribal Roots.
Are they performing?
No, they're putting on a comedy show.
Yeah, right. That's performance, right?
But I don't know that it's the people in Tribal Roots. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Well, where is it?
It's at the Tribal Roots Collective at 707 South Washington.
Well, there you go. That's all we needed. The preparation work that you do is to be lacking.
Here we go. We got hottest comedians and DJs in the Midwest, in the most progressive art and dance space in Wichita, live performances, laser shows, LED panels, visuals, doors at 7, comedy at 8, dance and after party from 10 until 2. See, this is not anything I would ever participate in.
Why?
Because that's not my...
That's right up my alley 35 years ago.
Right.
A dance and an after party? Are you kidding me? That's what I live
so
for.
outside of my... Just,
you know what my nickname was.
And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying that's good.
You know my nickname.
No.
Bob A.P. Lutz.
Okay, I don't want to know.
After party.
Is this funny to you? This can't be.
Max has to be falling down.
No, he doesn't. I'm surprised we're not canceled.
Why would we be canceled? That's
Those were two of the worst jokes I've ever heard in my life. Are you, because I mentioned comedy, just feeling insecure?
This is my alternative comedy.
It's very alternative.
Exactly. But that was funny. I seriously have tears in my eyes.
Well, I didn't want to make it sound like, because it's not for me, that it's not still great. It's just I want to learn about it.
Have you ever been to an after party of anything?
I've never been to a party, basically.
Well, that's just sad to me. But it is what
I've been
it
to
is.
a couple.
It is what you do, and that's okay. But this sounds like it's right up my previous alley.
Maybe so.
Something I would have enjoyed.
Something we can learn about our community.
I would have gone. If I was 30, I'd go to this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd check it out.
Well, it sounds pretty interesting.
It does sound interesting. 869-1240. If you have any thought of weighing in, talking to us, giving us a nod. Nothing in baseball. I keep watching. Nothing.
It takes a long time in baseball usually for the market to unfold.
When's the deadline to accept the qualifying offer? Tuesday? Maybe that'll be the day. Because none of those guys are going to accept it.
No, I thought that came and went.
No, they all got a qualifying offer, but then they have until Tuesday, I believe, to accept it.
Okay, you're probably right on that.
And I don't think any of the 7 players will, and then I hope that we'll start seeing some action.
Because Tuesday is also the day, I believe, for the 40-man roster that you have to have it set.
And it might be the GM meetings or the baseball winter meetings coming up next month in Nashville. That'd be a cool place to go for the baseball winter meetings. Not that they haven't done that before, but that'd be fun to hang out in Nashville.
Nashville is fun to hang out in. I did that once.
Did you go to a place called Losers in Nashville?
Not that I know of.
I remember seeing it.
No.
Jake Peavy was praising that place today on television when I was watching some Major League Baseball stuff. He, of course, is deep into that Nashville scene.
Yes.
And
we should have given Jake Peavy a call.
Well, let's get Jake Peavy on the
I've
show.
interviewed Jake Peavy before. Do I still have his number? Probably not.
You don't have Jake Peavy.
I used to. I saved all those numbers.
Why would you not save Jake Peavy?
Because I got a new phone. I don't know if I still have it.
I mean, I'd make sure I saved Jake. He talked about the most famous people in his phone today.
I don't have it.
And settled on John Mayer.
It's pretty impressive.
Being the most famous.
Yeah, I don't know who mine would be.
Who's the most famous person in your phone?
Bernie Ledden, just because I saved his number, but I've never talked to him. That's probably it. I don't know.
Why don't you text him?
I have.
And no response.
Yeah, try to get him on this show.
Well, that's too bad.
Maybe I'll try to get him on the podcast. Probably not.
No, nobody wants to hear that podcast. Do what people want to hear, not what you want to do. Please.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Figure it out. No one wants to hear you talk to Bernie Ledden. Not anyone in this market. Okay?
Well, it's not just for this market.
No, it is for this market. You represent KWCH. Nobody wants to hear Bernie Ledden or whom else. I mean, come on. Let's take a break on that note.
Be nice.
We'll come back and talk with Jon Kirby from Jayhawk Slant. Jayhawks at home against Texas Tech Saturday. We'll get Jon Kirby's thoughts on KU next.
Is your wallet lighter than usual after a fun-filled summer? A little cash can go a long way, which is why the Chime checking account has tons of benefits you'll love, like fee-free overdraft up to $200 for eligible members, no monthly fees, and thousands of ATMs. You can even get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Sign up for Chime today. Get started at chime.com/fee-free.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Access to direct deposits up to 2 days early depends on the timing of the submission of the payment file from the payer.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
All right, Jon Kirby joins us, our KU football insider from Jayhawk Slant. John, hello, welcome.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
We're doing well. We're happy to have you on. The Jayhawks have kept a very, very good season going. They have Texas Tech tomorrow up in Lawrence, 11 o'clock in the morning kickoff, and there's a lot obviously to still play for this football team. Where are they right now? How good is Kansas? They were 16th this week in the college football playoff poll. This is stuff that hasn't happened to KU in a long time. How real is it? Is it 100%?
You know, Bob, I think it is 100%. They do all the things that a good football team does. Listen, when you look up and down KU's roster, you don't sit here and see a lot of guys that you say that's going to be a second-round NFL pick. That's going to be a fourth-round NFL pick. You just don't see that. What they are is they're just a good football team. You know, they don't commit a lot of penalties. They don't turn the ball over a lot. They're well coached. They're schemed right. You know, offensively, they do a lot of things that put stress on opposing defensive coordinators. And they just find ways to always play just a little better than the guy that they're playing that week. You know, I mean, they played well enough to beat Oklahoma. Then they go to Ames and they play just well enough to beat Iowa State. So, you know, it seems like they kind of play to the level of who they're playing. But I think this is this football team is real. And when you look down the schedule, I don't know that there's any games that they have left that you're sitting there and going, well, they're really going to have trouble in that game.
So what did you make of the Lance Leipold Michigan State stuff that he did his very best to refute? It seems like that was a lot of nothing. But how good do you think KU has to be for the talk around their head coach leaving would cease?
Well, I don't know if there's really talk. I think there's people, throwing stuff out on Twitter, and I think there's people that, national guys that come up with, hypothetical lists of who would be good candidates. Travis Goff said the other day, KU's athletic director, he should be on every list, right? If there's a good job opening in America whose program is down right now and you want to get up, how many better candidates are there than Lance Leipold? The guy's gone to Whitewater. He's won there. He's gone to Buffalo, which is a hard place to win. He turned that thing around. He's gone to Kansas, which is just equally as hard, and he's done it there. So why would he be on list? I don't think he'd leave for Michigan State. I think that he's settled in there. I think his family likes it. His son's a starting wide receiver on Free State's football team. He's a junior in high school, so he's got one more year. He's getting hundreds of millions of dollars of new facilities. This is his program. I mean, this is the program that he's built. And, at Kansas, if you can just do what he's doing and win, I've always said this, at Kansas, if you can win 6 to 9 games every year in football, you'll be there for as long as you want to be. So I just think this is his program, and he's established it.
Jon Kirby with us from Jayhawk Slant. He is our KU football guy. So here we are, and I'm curious to know what you think of Jason Bean's legacy. It feels like he played for Mark Mangino. Obviously he didn't, but it feels like he's been there a while. He seems like he's had to come to the rescue quite often. It seems like he's played well above average, and that he's been a key figure in what KU's been able to accomplish this season, especially. What's his legacy? Do KU people, are they starting to feel the love for him?
Yeah, there was an interesting post on our message board. Every week, Bob, it's been, what's the deal with Jalen Daniels? Okay, what's his injury? What's the deal with his injury? What's his status? Is he practicing? Does he have a chance to return? And after that Oklahoma game, somebody said, hey, it's time to quit asking every week about Jalen Daniels' status, because this team is winning games with Jason Bean. Listen, here's what people forget. The kid played a bunch of football at North Texas. Then he transfers to Kansas. Last year, a lot of people forget, Jason Bean played a lot of football last year at KU. He was the quarterback when they got their 6th win against Oklahoma State that made him bowl eligible last year. So he's played in some games, and he's got experience, and he understands that offense. So,
yeah, 32 games played as a KU quarterback, 20 of them starts. He's been a main guy. Go ahead, Jeff.
So I will ask about Jalen Daniels' status, but not for this week, but for the bigger picture long term. What does that quarterback situation have to look like for Kansas next year to kind of, prepare for the possibility that Jalen Daniels could miss some time?
Are you talking about that if he's injured next year? Is that what you're saying?
Right. If that were to happen.
Well,
what's their depth situation at quarterback?
Well, what they're going to have to do, guys, and this is a possibility. They're going to have to go to the portal to find a quarterback. Okay, you've got Isaiah Marshall, who will be in town this week. He's like the 12th ranked dual threat quarterback in the country. Okay, he's been committed to KU. He's going to arrive early in January, so he's going to come in and get a head start. But that doesn't mean he's going to be ready to play next year. Right now, the backup is Cole Ballard. He was a preferred walk-on who showed up this June. His dad's the general manager of the Indianapolis Colts, okay? And so there is no Jason Bean to come to the rescue next year. So I think they're going to have to go to the portal. Now, what's going to get tricky there is when you go to the portal and you recruit a quarterback, what does every quarterback want to do? They want to play, okay? It's hard to find guys to say, we want you to come here, but there's a good chance you're going to be the backup if Jalen Daniels is healthy. So it's going to be a very interesting off-season in how they navigate that quarterback position, because I think there's a high likelihood that they're going to go after a quarterback in the portal.
Interesting stuff. Talking with Jon Kirby from Jayhawk Slant. KU at home tomorrow against Texas Tech, an 11 a.m. kickoff. So you mentioned you look at up and down this roster and you don't see second-round NFL picks. You don't see guys that are blue chip that we think are just going to go to the next level and dominate. So who are the 2 or 3 most likely KU players, John, to get all Big 12 first-team mention? Who do you think is deserving of that on this roster?
Well, the guy that might – he's got a case, but his numbers aren't there, is Kobe Bryant. I mean, I think he is easily one of the best corners in the Big 12. The problem is nobody throws his way. I mean, that's why Mello Dotson has 2 pick sixes in the last couple weeks and all the passes defended. He's near the top of the league in that because nobody throws Kobe Bryant's way. I think he's a guy. I'll tell you another one who's just quietly put together a good season is their left tackle, Dominic Pooney. I mean, this guy came to KU last year from Central Missouri State University. Okay, and nobody knew who he was. He goes in there and he started every game since he's arrived at KU, And I think he's the guy that probably has a chance to be in an NFL camp and get some looks. I would have said early on Devin Neal, but he's kind of shared some carries with Highshaw. They've had a couple games where they've played against teams who lined up defensively and done everything they can to load the box and shut the run down. So, I don't know. I don't know that there's a lot of guys that you sit there and look at their numbers and go, man, that's an all Big 12 guy, which is what I think what they're doing makes them pretty impressive with what they've done.
So what do you see from Texas Tech? They were a team in the preseason that were getting a lot of like dark horse contender type of attention, and that clearly hasn't panned out. But is there any residual effect of that? Is there anything that you see out of Texas Tech that still suggests that what people were thinking in the preseason is legitimate?
Yeah. I mean, this game concerns me. All right. I mean, Texas Tech, I watched them earlier in the year take Oregon to the last drive. I mean, them and Oregon were tied late in the game. So, then they got injuries. Their quarterback got hurt. Then their backup got hurt. So they played 2 games with their third-string quarterback who turned it over 8 times in 2 weeks. Okay, so then they kind of hit a spell there where they beat Houston by 28, and then they beat Baylor by like 24. And then the kid got hurt, and they had a couple down games. And then he came back last week against TCU, and they beat TCU, and the offense looked much better. So, guys, what Texas Tech does well, it's what Kansas doesn't defend well, all right? And Kansas has always had trouble here because I just don't know if they have the upper-end athletes, but they've had trouble in space. And when you watch Texas Tech, I mean, they go 4 wide, they spread you out, and they spread you out to run the football. Because their running back, who's second in the Brooks, is second in the Big 12 in rushing. He's really good. I mean, he's 230 pounds. He can run over you. He can run around you. And they've got just good enough receivers that when they see the box sneaking in, they'll do that little quick out to the receivers, and they pick up 5 and 6 yards of play on that quick little out. So, this game, there's some concern for me in this game because of Texas Tech's style that they play.
For sure. Jon Kirby with us. We can't let you go, John, without asking you about next Saturday, Kansas State coming to Lawrence to play the Jayhawks. There will be a ton riding on that game. This is one of those rare times in history when both K-State and Kansas are good at the same time. They both have highly thought of coaches. Football's never been in a better place in our state than it is right now. How much is riding on that game, in your opinion?
Yeah, there's a lot just because, it means so much to everybody. And, the Kansas fans have been talking about it. It's been so long since I can't remember the last time you went into a game thinking that Kansas had a chance to win the game. So, it's in Lawrence. I know Kansas State will have a lot of people there. But, Kansas is going to have a shot in that game. Just early on, the thing that concerns you is just how physical Kansas State plays. And, that's a game that Kansas State's always gotten up for. God, I remember being in Manhattan, was it 95, when both teams were both teams are really good. And I remember Kansas went down and scored on a long pass play, and it was tied 7-7, and you're thinking, we got a ball game here. And then you look back up, and K-State's up like 35-7. But yeah, it's been a long time since that game's meant something. And it's going to be fun. I've already heard that they've already shut off the recruit portal because they let recruits, the people they invite to the games can sign up for it. I've heard they're already booked for the recruits. They had to shut the portal down like 2 weeks ago, not even take any more recruits because it's been a hot ticket.
Absolutely, for sure. John, we always appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on and talking Kansas football with us.
All right, guys, take care.
Thanks. Jon Kirby from Jayhawk Slant. KU football, 2-loss team going into tomorrow's action against Texas Tech. Joined by Nick Schmidt, the head football coach at Medicine Lodge. They're getting it going here at 6 p.m. tonight, kicking off against Valley Heights up in Blue Rapids. So before, Nick, welcome, first of all. We're glad to have you with us. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I know my son, Jeff, is going to be curious, what time did the bus leave to get up to Valley Heights, Blue Rapids this morning?
We left at 10 o'clock. We were going to take a couple stops to break up the long ride.
Makes sense.
That's a good idea. Coach, have you ever seen the show New Girl?
Yes, I have.
Did you know that the three main male characters are Coach, Nick, and Schmidt?
Yep, Destiny.
Well, I'm glad that you've seen.
How about that? You're an inspiration
That's
as well
pretty
as a
good
football
stuff.
coach.
So this is the first 8-win season that Medicine Lodge has had since 2006. This is your second year as coach. Do you think those two things are coincidental, or what kind of impact do you feel like you've made there in just your second year?
I'd like to say it's a big part of the kids we have right now and the staff we put together, and the people in the building that are helping us get to our goals. I'd like to think I have some part in that, pulling everything together, but it is a big supporting role from everybody else that gets us there.
Nick Schmidt with us from Medicine Lodge. Again, 8 wins. They're playing Valley Heights this evening, kicking off at 6 o'clock against another 8-win team. So tell us a little bit, Nick, about your background. How'd you end up at Medicine Lodge? Where'd you play football? Where'd you coach previously before you came to the Central Plains League?
Well, I played high school football at TMP, and then that's where my football career ended as a player. Went to Fort Hays, and then Medicine Lodge called me up to get me to student teach down in Medicine Lodge, and I've been down there this will be my 4th year. I was an assistant coach for 2, and then I took over the head coach after the head coach had left.
So this team's on a little bit of a winning streak recently. When did you know that this team had a chance to do what it's doing right now and advance pretty well into the postseason?
Honestly, last year we had no seniors. We were putting up some good fights, and we had some rough games last year. But the leadership we saw building from that and through the other sports last year, we knew we had a chance to do something special. And it's not just our senior group; it's what they're doing with the underclassmen beneath them. The competitiveness and really pulling out the best in all of our other players.
Nick Schmidt with us, head football coach at Medicine Lodge. So when you go to a 1A high school, I'm curious how that works, because I don't know how many kids you had come out for football this year. Is it kind of a year-to-year thing? How is it easier to build a program at a lower level high school, or is it easier to do it at a 6 or 5A school?
I don't have the experience at the 5 or 6A school, but I know whenever I got here, we had 19 kids on the team, and then 24, and then we had 32, and we're at 41 this year. So,
wow.
I think building the relationships with the middle school, which is also in the same building as us, that's really helped us, and having good relationships with other coaches, getting us all united so we can keep kids out, because it is very hard to get them out after they skip freshman year football. So getting them to commit to a 2-year, give us till sophomore year before you make that final decision. Usually we can keep most of them out then after that point.
Would you say Medicine Lodge is a football town? Do you feel like the people there have had to be a little bit convinced, especially this year, because you've really had a nice turnaround, or do you feel like the support's been there for you from day one?
I think it depends on what group of the town you're talking about. We always have our core supporters, and they had our back last year and the year before and the year before that. But in general, I'd say, yeah, it took some convincing to show that we were the real deal heading into, honestly, our last 3 or 4 weeks. So, but now the whole community is behind us for sure.
Nick Schmidt with us from Medicine Lodge High School. Again, they're up in Blue Rapids to face Valley Heights tonight. When you have to go this far, what do you have? How many fans do you think you'll have from Medicine Lodge that are making that? What I'm guessing it's at least a 3-hour drive, right?
About 4 hours in car.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. We actually have a pet bus, with our cheerleaders, and then some students that have been supporting us all year, no matter home or away. And then we changed our school day to a 1:30 day. So any teachers, where there's a lot of teachers and other students that are making that trek up to Valley Heights. So we should have hopefully a big crowd.
So tell us about some of your players and who have the guys who have gotten you to this point and have had some success.
I want to start with our captain. Always talks is 15. He was our quarterback for part of the season last year, and then took a role as a tight end lead blocker type. And he's really a good leader on this team. People gravitate towards him, and he may not have necessarily the stats right now just because of his role in our offense, but he does lead the team. He is also our middle linebacker, first team all-league and all-district linebacker. And then right next to him, you got Derek Randalls, another senior from day one, freshman year. He was a smaller kid, and he really had to put in the work, and you can see he's definitely put in the work. And he is a second-team wide receiver league, first district wide receiver. And then we have a lineman that has just been an animal for us for 4 years. Even in middle school, you could tell he was something special. Harlan, he's one of our other captains, and he's unanimous first team O-line and D-line. You'll see him at left tackle and then nose guard or 3-tech on defense. And then there's so many to mention, but Kevion, our quarterback, he's definitely kept us alive in so many games. He's the one that quarterback last year, and he's just an electric player. Very hard to keep contained, and he has a great arm, great head on his shoulders, and he gets some things done. He's also a DN for us that gets overshadowed by, I think, a couple of our other D linemen, but he definitely holds his own. And he's unanimous first-team CPL quarterback as well.
All right, Nick Schmidt, our guest. I got to ask you a little bit off the football thing because I'm a lover of Kansas, and I love the area in which Medicine Lodge is. It's beautiful down there. What is your favorite aspect of living and teaching and coaching in Medicine Lodge, Kansas?
I'm going to say the ability to, as long as we are teaching things we're supposed to be teaching, as long as we can reach the kids and build those relationships with the kids to really give them not just an education, but a good school life as well. That's probably the coaching, teaching aspect. But I think with the community being the size it is, the school district has a lot of people that we all hang out with. There's a big friend group, and a lot of it overlaps with those teachers and other people in the community. And it just, that same idea of making a better quality of life, it really just drives the community. At the golf course and the chamber down there, always making events for everybody in the town, 4th of July and all these other events. I think that's just my favorite part, is the camaraderie that we get from Medicine Lodge.
Well, I what's the name of the place in Sun City where the restaurant, the hamburgers? Sun City. Have you ever been there?
I have not.
Oh my goodness, you got to go. You got to go. Nick, thank you so much. We appreciate. Go after you win a state title. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I will. Thank you,
Nick. Thank you very much for being on the show with us. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Nick Schmidt from Medicine Lodge. Sun City's just a few miles away.
I don't know.
And I've been there a couple times, and I can't think of the name of it. Sun City Burgers, I think.
Well, that sounds like it would make a lot of sense.
But it's in an old place, and there's very little in Sun City, Kansas. But this restaurant is outstanding.
Well, there's Buster's Saloon.
That's it.
That must be it.
That's it.
All right, cool.
And they have a great hamburger.
Sounds like it would be fun to go to Buster's.
It's a fun day trip. I'm into those.
You should go. Travel west north of here, and that's where Medicine Lodge is, I think.
No, that's not true.
South.
Are you kidding?
Southwest. A little west.
Yeah, southwest.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not northwest. That's crazy.
That's what you thought.
No. I honestly did
What
think
highway is Medicine Lodge on?
50.
No, that's north. Why don't you
do highways not go north and south?
Why don't you take an interest in Kansas?
I'm just not going to ever know stuff like that.
That's the difference between you and me. One of the big ones.
It's not that I'm not interested. It's just that I'm never going to be able to commit that to memory.
I'm just so much into this state.
Okay, good.
I like to know everything about it, everything I can get my hands on. I like to know where the roads are and the restaurants and the places.
Well, that's awesome. We came up in a different time.
Well, I don't think it matters when you come up.
A little bit.
Not at all.
Kinda.
You don't think there's 40-year-olds who know Medicine Lodge is on Highway 160, one of the great roads in the state of Kansas? My goodness.
One of the great
roads. It's one of the great roads.
What does that even mean?
That means you start on 160 in southeast Kansas, and you can navigate all the way to the western border of the state on that highway.
So a road, then.
It's a great road.
All right.
And beautiful. Lots of scenery. I don't know why I have to practically force you to care.
Highway 160.
Yes.
Awesome.
We'll take a break. We've added Brent Hobson to the mix. He's the women's soccer coach at Friends. They're making a good postseason run, and he will join this show at 3:10 today. We've got hour number 2 straight ahead. Joanna Chadwick from Vipe Magazine and Shea West, part of Tribal Roots. They'll be performing or whatever they do this weekend.
I believe they're hosting an event. Yes.
That includes an after party.
Right.
So Shea West will join us for 5 questions. Back in a minute.